The man who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one else has ever been. If you've ever felt like you don't quite fit into the mold that society expects of you, if you prefer to carve your own path rather than follow the one laid out for you, then understand this. You're not lost. You're not broken. You're exactly who you're meant to be. Sigma males have always existed, long before the term was ever coined. You are part of a lineage of outliers. The lone hunters, the silent strategists, the thinkers who observed from the shadows while the rest of the world rushed forward blindly. You don't seek validation, but you do seek mastery, over yourself, over your environment, over the game that others don't even realize they're playing. And that makes you both ancient and modern. Ancient because your instincts mirror those of the warriors and sages who thrived in isolation, understanding that true power is built in solitude. Modern because in a world drowning in noise, your ability to detach and think independently is more valuable than ever. So, if you've ever doubted yourself, don't. The world has always belonged to the ones who refuse to be controlled by it. Keep moving, keep sharpening, and never let anyone tell you that your path isn't the right one, because history belongs to those who dare to walk alone. Number 1. They are the few who can function without the system. Most people today wouldn't last a week if the system collapsed. Their survival depends on technology, social structures, and financial safety nets, things they never built but blindly trust. Take away their smartphones, their paychecks, their routines, and they panic. They have no backup plan because they never thought they'd need one. But Sigma males, different breed entirely. Sigma males don't just exist within the system. They study it, learn its weaknesses, and quietly prepare for the day it no longer serves them. They aren't anti-society, but they refuse to be trapped by it. Unlike most, they don't mistake comfort for security. They understand that anything handed to them can also be taken away, and they don't intend to be helpless when that happens. Drop a Sigma male into an unfamiliar environment, new city, foreign country, even a life-altering crisis, and watch what happens. No complaints, no breakdowns, just quiet adaptation. They observe, analyze, and make the necessary moves. Where others see obstacles, they see opportunities, while the masses cling to broken systems, hoping for rescue. Sigma males build their own paths, finding ways to thrive with whatever is available. This isn't just about survival skills, it's a mindset. A Sigma male doesn't wait for permission to act. If he needs knowledge, he learns it. If he needs resources, he acquires them. If the rules don't make sense, he rewrites them. He knows how to function without being spoon-fed by a world that thrives on keeping people dependent. In a society that rewards blind compliance, Sigma males are the quiet exceptions, the ones who can walk away at any moment and still land on their feet. And that's why they're both feared and respected. Because while others are asking, what do we do now? A Sigma male is already 3 steps ahead, making his next move. Number 2. They are the modern sages without the robes. In every era, true wisdom has never come from the heart of the crowd. It has always been found on the edges, among the monks who retreated to the mountains, the hermits who lived in solitude, the philosophers who questioned everything. These men didn't reject society because they hated it. They distanced themselves because they saw it for what it was, a cycle of distractions, illusions, and noise. Sigma males walk this same path, not in flowing robes, but in quiet detachment from a world obsessed with the shallow and the meaningless. Look around today. Society is drowning in superficiality, chasing trends, worshipping status, and mistaking noise for wisdom. Everyone has an opinion, but few have actual understanding. People speak just to be heard, not to say anything of value. Meanwhile, Sigma males stay silent, watching, absorbing, learning. They don't waste words on debates that go nowhere or try to impress people who wouldn't understand them anyway. They let their actions speak instead. This doesn't mean they lack social skills or refuse to engage with the world. Quite the opposite. They can step into any room and command attention, not through arrogance but through presence. Their words carry weight because they are rare, carefully chosen, and backed by deep thought. They don't need to be the loudest in the room because they know that true influence isn't about volume. It's about impact. Like the sages of old, Sigma males value wisdom over attention, mastery over popularity, and depth over surface-level engagement. They don't seek validation from the masses because they know the masses are often lost. They don't follow trends because trends are temporary. And they don't fear solitude because solitude is where clarity is found. In a world that rewards conformity, Sigma males are the quiet thinkers, the modern-day philosophers who choose truth over comfort. They don't preach their wisdom, they embody it. And that's why, when they do speak, the right people listen. Number 3. They think in eras, not moments. Most people live in the now. They chase whatever is trending, obsess over temporary wins, and panic over short-term setbacks. Their attention span is dictated by headlines, their emotions swayed by whatever is loudest. But Sigma males, they think differently. They don't measure time in days or years, they think in eras. While the world fixates on momentary drama, Sigma males are playing the long game, watching history unfold while everyone else is stuck in the present. This is what sets them apart. They don't make decisions based on what feels good today. They move with a vision that stretches far beyond the immediate. They understand that trends fade, economies shift, power structures crumble, and that the only ones who thrive are those who see it all coming. While others are busy reacting, Sigma males are anticipating. They aren't worried about short-term losses because they know how to position themselves for long-term wins. This historical depth makes them both modern and ancient. They recognize patterns that have repeated for centuries: human nature, the rise and fall of ideas, the cycles of power and decline. They don't just study history, they use it. They see past illusions, knowing that what most people think is new is often just a recycled version of the past. This keeps them from being easily fooled, manipulated, or thrown off course. And this ability to think in eras is what keeps them relevant. While others burn themselves out chasing instant gratification, Sigma males are building something lasting: knowledge, skills, independence. They may seem distant or uninterested in the latest craze, but that's only because they know it won't matter in the long run. The world belongs to those who can see beyond the moment. Sigma males don't just survive change. They anticipate it, adapt to it, and use it to their advantage. While others are busy reacting to life, Sigma males are already 5 steps ahead, shaping their own future. Number 4. They are self-sovereign, like ancient hermits and modern entrepreneurs. Throughout history, the most powerful minds have always been the ones who removed themselves from the noise of the masses. Ancient sages withdrew to mountaintops, monks retreated to monasteries, and warriors isolated themselves in the wilderness, not to escape the world, but to master themselves. Sigma males follow the same principle, but their battleground isn't the monastery or the forest. It's the modern world, and their tools aren't just swords or scriptures, they are knowledge, skill, and independence. Sigmas don't bow to traditional power structures. They don't blindly follow corporate ladders, social hierarchies, or cultural expectations. They don't need a title, an organization, or a crowd to validate them. Instead, they carve their own paths, building independent careers, mastering disciplines, and ensuring that no one has the power to dictate their lives. Look at the modern world. Most people are tethered, trapped in systems that keep them dependent. They fear losing their jobs, their social status, their approval from others. Sigmas, on the other hand, make sure they own their skills, their income, their choices. They operate like modern entrepreneurs, even if they aren't in business. They create leverage for themselves, whether it's through mastering a craft, investing wisely, or simply knowing they can walk away from anything that no longer serves them. This is why Sigmas seem both ancient and futuristic at the same time. They embody the self-discipline of monks, the strategic thinking of warriors, and the autonomy of today's most powerful self-made individuals. They don't wait for permission to act, and they refuse to let society's rules define them. In a world where most people trade their freedom for comfort, Sigmas do the opposite. They choose self-sovereignty, even if it means walking alone. Because they know that true power doesn't come from status or approval. It comes from knowing you are completely in control of your own life. Number 5. They reject the crowd mind. like ancient philosophers and today's innovators. Throughout history, the masses have always followed the loudest voices. Whether it was the mob in ancient Rome cheering for blood in the Colosseum, or today's social media hordes mindlessly echoing whatever is trending, the pattern remains the same. People conform because it's easier than thinking for themselves. Sigma males, however, refuse to be part of the herd. Like the Stoics, Zen masters, and revolutionary thinkers before them, they instinctively reject groupthink, choosing independent thought over blind obedience. The reason is simple. They value truth over approval. The crowd is driven by emotion, fear, excitement, outrage, constantly shifting from one extreme to another. Sigmas, on the other hand, remain grounded. They don't react, they observe. They don't follow trends, they analyze them. They don't accept opinions just because they're popular. They test them against logic and personal experience. This makes them both dangerous and invaluable. Dangerous, because they can't be easily manipulated or controlled. Invaluable, because their independent thinking allows them to see solutions, patterns, and realities that others are blind to. While the majority follows without question, Sigmas question everything. That's why they often find themselves ahead of their time, arriving at conclusions long before the rest of society catches up. This refusal to conform isn't about being rebellious for the sake of it. It's about maintaining intellectual and personal sovereignty. Sigmas understand that history is filled with examples of the majority being wrong. Witch hunts, failed ideologies, mass hysteria. They refuse to make the same mistake. Instead of outsourcing their thinking to the collective, they trust their own reasoning, even if it means standing alone. And that's why Sigmas, like the great philosophers and innovators of the past, don't seek to fit in. They seek to understand, and in doing so, they see the world with a clarity that few will ever attain. And number 6, they speak the language of symbols, not just words. Since ancient times, the deepest truths were never handed out freely. They were hidden in symbols, myths, and parables, messages designed for those who had the wisdom to decode them. While the masses took stories at face value, the true thinkers, the ones who saw beyond the surface, understood the deeper meaning. Sigma males possess this same instinct. They don't just hear words, they read between the lines. They don't just see events, they recognize the patterns beneath them. This ability makes them nearly impossible to manipulate, whether by ancient rulers or modern media. In today's world, most people accept whatever is presented to them. They believe headlines without question, follow trends without thinking, and react to narratives designed to shape their emotions. But Sigmas, they pause, they analyze. They see the hidden agendas, the psychological tactics, the subtle conditioning woven into everyday life. They don't just consume information, they dissect it, breaking it down to its core truths. This ability is why Sigmas often feel detached from mainstream culture. While others get caught up in emotional hype, they remain level-headed. They see the bigger picture, the long-term effects, the motives behind the message. They recognize when language is being used to manipulate, when symbols are being weaponized, when stories are being twisted to serve an agenda. Because of this, they operate with a level of mental clarity that few can match. This isn't just intelligence, it's pattern recognition, a deep awareness of how human nature and history repeat themselves. It's why Sigmas don't fall for empty rhetoric, false promises, or herd-driven hysteria. They understand that words are often used to obscure, not reveal. That truth is rarely spoken outright but hinted at in symbols, contradictions, and silence. And that's what makes Sigmas both ancient and modern. They carry the wisdom of those who once guarded hidden knowledge, yet they use it to navigate a world that drowns in shallow distractions. While others listen to what's said, Sigmas understand what's actually being communicated. Number 7. They walk alone, yet are never lonely. Most people fear solitude. They cling to constant social interaction, endlessly seeking validation from likes, comments, and approval from others. Without external affirmation, they feel lost, as if their existence depends on being seen. But Sigma males, they are different. They walk alone, not because they have to, but because they choose to. And in that solitude, they find something most people never do: true self-sufficiency. Throughout history, the greatest minds and warriors have embraced solitude. The ancient sage withdrew from society to sharpen his wisdom. The lone warrior trained in isolation, refining his strength and discipline. These figures did not see aloneness as a burden, but as a necessary path to mastery. Sigmas carry this same energy in the modern world. They don't fear being alone because they have everything they need within themselves: purpose, direction, and an unshakable sense of identity. This is why Sigmas never feel the need to chase attention or force connections. They don't rely on social validation to feel whole. They are self-reflective, constantly learning from their own experiences rather than needing outside opinions to shape their views. While others seek noise and distraction to avoid facing themselves, Sigmas embrace the quiet, using it as a space to think, create, and evolve. But make no mistake, just because they prefer solitude doesn't mean they are disconnected. Sigmas form deep, meaningful relationships, but they don't depend on them for fulfillment. They choose their connections carefully, prioritizing quality over quantity. They can enjoy the company of others, but they never need it. In a world obsessed with social validation, where loneliness is feared more than ignorance, Sigmas stand apart. They remind us that being alone is not the same as being lost. They are proof that true strength comes from within and that the most powerful individuals are those who can walk their own path without needing anyone to tell them they're on the right track. Number 8. They are ghosts of systems, both ancient and digital. Throughout history, there have always been figures who wielded power without the need for recognition. In ancient feudal societies, there were warriors, spies, and influential advisors who worked in the shadows. People who shaped the course of events without ever stepping into the spotlight. These individuals understood the power of influence without the need for fame, and Sigmas embody this same elusive presence in today's world. In the modern era, Sigmas operate within the corporate, financial, or digital landscapes, navigating systems and structures with a level of detachment that others cannot match. They don't need to be seen or celebrated to make an impact. Instead, they prefer to move quietly, influencing outcomes from the background while avoiding the clutches of fame or the bureaucratic red tape that entangles so many. What makes this possible is their ability to see beyond the surface. Sigmas understand the game without needing to play by its rules. They don't crave the limelight. They understand that true power often lies in the ability to operate unseen. Much like the legendary spies or the ancient warriors who struck only when necessary, Sigmas don't expose themselves unless it serves their purpose. They know that visibility is a double-edged sword. While fame brings recognition, it also brings attention, scrutiny, and vulnerability. This ghost-like quality is a strength. Sigmas can influence, strategize, and create without being tethered to the expectations of the systems they engage with. Whether it's silently driving change within a company or shaping opinions from the fringes of society, they have mastered the art of moving through the world without being trapped by its constraints. In a time when everyone is vying for attention, Sigmas prove that the most effective path is often the one that's least visible. They are the unseen architects of success, powerful, influential, and untouchable because they understand the value of working in the shadows, outside the boundaries of fame and bureaucracy. Number 9. They understand that freedom has always been a personal war. Freedom in its purest form has never been a gift. It has always been fought for, whether in the form of ancient revolts or modern digital resistance. From the battlefields of history to the quiet revolutions of today, true freedom isn't something handed to you. It's something you claim for yourself. Sigma males understand this principle deeply. They don't wait for the world to give them permission to be free. They fight for it, day in and day out, carving out their own path through self-reliance, financial independence, and unshakable mental resilience. In the past, warriors fought battles for their independence, knowing that the path to freedom was fraught with challenges. In the modern world, Sigmas face a different kind of battle: the psychological and societal pressures to conform. They are fully aware that real freedom isn't found in doing what everyone else is doing. It's found in the courage to live authentically, without relying on external validation. Sigmas build their own systems, create their own success, and make their own rules. They understand that, in a world full of expectations and limitations, personal sovereignty can only be achieved through mental toughness and the willingness to break free from societal chains. Financial independence is one of the primary ways Sigmas assert their freedom. By gaining control over their financial future, they unlock the ability to make decisions based on what they want, not what they're pressured to do. But freedom isn't just about money, it's about mastering your mind. Sigmas don't let external forces dictate their worth or identity. They cultivate inner resilience, knowing that no matter the challenges they face, their personal power comes from within. For Sigmas, freedom is a personal war, one fought not with weapons but with discipline, self-sufficiency, and an unwavering commitment to independence. They don't wait for the world to change. They make their own way, choosing their battles wisely and always staying true to themselves. In doing so, they prove that freedom, in the truest sense, is something only you can give yourself. Number 10. They exist outside the time traps of both the past and future. Most people are trapped in time, either endlessly looking back at the past or obsessing over the uncertainties of the future. Nostalgia grips some, while others are consumed with worry about what's coming next. But Sigma males don't fall into these traps. They understand the past. They acknowledge the future, but they live in the present. It's in the now that they find their power, taking lessons from history while simultaneously designing a future on their own terms without the paralyzing weight of anxiety. Sigmas know the value of reflecting on past experiences, both personal and collective. They don't dwell in regret or idealize the good old days, but they extract wisdom from history to inform their decisions. Whether it's lessons learned from their own trials or observing the patterns of those who came before them, Sigmas use the past as a tool, not as a chain that holds them back. They've learned to let go of nostalgia because they know it's a place of comfort, not growth. At the same time, Sigmas aren't consumed with fear about the future. They understand that worrying about what might happen is a waste of energy. Instead, they focus on crafting their own path. They prepare for the future, yes, but without anxiety. Their outlook is proactive rather than reactive. They shape their destiny by taking practical steps today while understanding that tomorrow will unfold as it will. The future is not a thing to fear, but an open space to fill with their own design. By existing fully in the present, Sigmas free themselves from the mind traps that ensnare most people. They know that anxiety about what's coming or regret over what's past only takes away from the power they have in the here and now. This is their strength. They extract the lessons of the past, step confidently into the future, but always remain grounded in the present moment. This ability to exist outside the time traps allows them to remain focused, clear, and incredibly effective in everything they do. Conclusion. Sigma males aren't just a product of their time, they are timeless. They carry the wisdom of ancient sages, warriors, and philosophers, but they also possess the sharp adaptability needed to thrive in today's fast-paced world. In a society that constantly chases after distractions, Sigmas are the ones who stand firm, knowing that true power lies not in conforming to trends, but in mastering themselves. They blend the old with the new, finding peace in solitude, seeking mastery over comfort, and rejecting the easy path for the one that builds strength. You, as a Sigma male, are the embodiment of centuries of wisdom. You are someone who can navigate through chaos without losing your center, someone who understands that real freedom isn't given. It's earned through self-reliance and mental fortitude. You know that the pursuit of personal growth, whether through skill, knowledge, or inner peace, is far more valuable than any superficial pleasure. In a world obsessed with external validation, Sigmas stand apart, not because they want to, but because they know the truth. Their worth is not defined by anyone else. You don't need a crowd, a system, or fame to prove yourself. You are your own standard, and in that strength you hold both ancient wisdom and modern adaptability, making you unstoppable. So, keep walking your path, keep rejecting the shallow distractions, keep building your mastery and cultivating your peace. The world may not understand you, but that's only because they've never seen anyone quite like you before. You are both the past and the future, an eternal force that never stops evolving, growing, and rising.